guys, welcome to another reading vlog. If you're new here, my name's Sophie and I live in the southwest of England in Somerset, and I've been documenting my journey and fall in love with reading again after a period of time where I just haven't read at all. So I've been experimenting with different books. I joined a book club to try and see what kind of books that I was interested in, and I'm just continuing to document the journey because I just really loved sharing it with you. I also run a small business, Sophie in Somerset. I'll leave the Etsy link down below. So any bookmarks that you see in these videos, they are all by me. Also, anything that I use in my bullet journals. So for instance, at the moment, we are doing a summer reading challenge. So this is my summer reading tracker TBR list. This printable is available on my Etsy store for just £1. And I have a few other reading trackers on there. I have a powerless inspired one and just a plain one. I think I have a pink axolotl one. So go and check it out. So we are working our way down. Next one is Wild Love. Now, I feel like I didn't purposely do this, but I feel like I'm inspired by my dress at the moment because we are entering our cowboy romance era, I feel. So I've been really excited to read Wild Love by Silva. And I feel like I'm the only one on the planet who has not read the Chestnut Spring series. So I have also got Flawless on my bookshelf that I want to dive into. And then I also have the first two in this series by Lila Sage. So Swift and Saddled and Done and Dusted. So I also have these on my bookshelf. So I feel like if Wild Love sets me into my cowboy romance era, which I feel that it might, I have plenty of other books to dive straight into. We'll see. I feel like everything that I've heard about Wild Love, from Book Girlie's YouTube series and everything else online and BookTok, I feel like I am a cowboy romance girl, but I've never read a cowboy romance. So we're going to read my very first cowboy romance together. And I'm really excited to share this journey with you. So let's drop straight on in. Oh, also, if you're new here, like I said, I am part of a book club. I just closed out my last reading vlog. So if you haven't seen that, please go back and watch it. We read The Great Gatsby together. That was my last book club read. I gave it 3 stars. If you want to see the full review, again, go back and watch the last reading vlog. But I'm meeting up with my book club next week, which when I will be given our next book. So I'll also share that with you as soon as I find out what that is, because we always take a break from my personal TBR to read the book clubs. But enough waffle. Let's dive straight into Wild Love because I'm so excited and I really want to know, am I a cowboy romance girly or not?
So as you can see, I am in the car. I apologise if you hear beeps from my phone. I've got it on loud because I've just dropped little man off for his first nursery induction. I'm literally just in a lay-by just down the road because I'm only leaving him for half an hour to begin with. Any mums or parents out there know the first time leaving your child, it's emotional, but I've got my book here to keep me entertained in the lay-by. I've got quite a way through it now. I don't think I ever read the blurb to you, so I'm going to read the blurb to you and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. So, Forbes may have labelled Ford Grant the world's hottest billionaire, but all he cares about is escaping the press and opening a recording studio in gorgeous small town Rose Hill. Something that comes to a screeching halt when he ends up face to face with a young girl who claims he's her biological father. After years of living in the city, Rosie comes back into town like a storm. Beautiful, messy, and chaotic. One wide-eyed, desperate plea for a job is all it takes for Ford to hire her. He vows to keep her at arm's length, but with her verbal sparring is a type of foreplay. friction that soon turns to blistering heat. Ford knows damn well he shouldn't cross the line, but shouldn't and can't are two very different things. And the only thing he truly can't do is resist her. I love it. I love it. My one downside straight off the bat is the fact that there's quite a lot of swearing in this book. So if you're not a fan of swearing, just be aware of it. I don't think it's always needed. But aside from that, I love the trope of a single dad. I've not read a book for a single dad trope before, I don't think. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying him watching Rosie fall in love with his daughter, and then the extra love he has for Rosie because of it is amazing. It's one of those books where you just wish they would just get together and just admit their feelings for each other. But I love the tension. Like I said, I love seeing Ford not only fall in love with Rosie, but also fall in love with his daughter. That's really beautiful. So Ford is best friends with Rosie's older brother, Wes. So that's another reason why he doesn't want to cross the line, because it's Wes's baby sister. And another great thing is the fact that I haven't read the Chestnut Springs series from Elsie Silva, but as you know, I've got the first book in the Chestnut Springs series that I want to try and get into. But Ford's sister Willa lives in Chestnut Springs, and I believe she's got her own book in the Chestnut Springs series, and she comes into this book obviously because it's his sister. So I love how Elsie Silva has linked the two series. So now it makes me want to go back and read Chestnut Springs. But having said that, you don't need to have read Chestnut Springs to enjoy this book, because I haven't, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, but I feel like I'll have added value to it if I do read it, if that makes sense. But I'm really, really enjoying it. Love my Swifties inspired bookmark. You can get this on my Etsy store, just saying. Love the cover. It's so bright and colourful. So yeah, it's definitely going to help keep me distracted whilst I wait to go and pick up little man. So I'm going to get some reading done now in the car. I'm also dropping him off for, I think he's staying for like an hour tomorrow, maybe an hour and a half. So I'll get some more reading done then. So I'll probably check back in with you once I've finished it. The book club. So I'm actually going to the library now afterwards. Once I picked up little man, we're going to go to the library together to drop back off The Great Gatsby. It was a mixed bag in my book group. I think we all feel sorry for Gatsby. It's very much a book of its time. But yeah, and we haven't 100% decided on the next book yet, because it depends what the library can get in. Fourth Wing is definitely a possibility. We might finally get to Fourth Wing, or maybe something from Daphne du Maurier. I've read Jamaica Inn and Rebecca from Daphne du Maurier, but I haven't read My Cousin Rachel, and I haven't read some of her other books. So if we do Daphne du Maurier, I hope it's one of the books I haven't already read, but we'll just see. So I'll keep you posted on what's our next book club read, but I'll check back in with you once I finished Wild Love.
Okay guys, it's been a hot minute since I updated you. It's now the 18th of August. I have finished Wild Love. I think the last clip I recorded was the closing ceremony of the Olympics. Basically, if you're new here, I used to do a lot of my reading in my little boy's nursery whilst he was going to sleep. Well, he's turned 2 now, and basically it's just too overstimulating to have us in the room, even do bedtime stories and everything. We really had to pare back bedtime. So I've lost my reading time. I'm not sitting next to his cot waiting for him to go sleep. He self-soothes like a champ, but he kind of just needs to be left alone to do it. So I'm trying to find snapshots of time to do my reading. So I think in the coming clips, you'll probably see more of me reading in bed or reading downstairs in front of the TV whilst my husband watches some murder programs or true crime that he enjoys. that I'm far too squeamish and anxious for. So it'll be interesting to see how it switches up from here on in. But I have finished Wild Love. It's my first Elsie Silva book. And good point is I absolutely love the single dad romance trope. I really do think I am a cowboy girl, like romance girl. I thought I was, and I am. I love the small town romance vibes. And at the back of Wild Love, they give you a sneak peek of the next book, which is Wild Eyes, I believe, and it comes out in September. And that sounded really good. So in this book, in Wild Love, you have Ford and Rosie. Ford's sister Willa features in the Chestnut Spring series of Elsie Silva, so it's all interconnected, but they are still standalone. So I've never read this Chestnut Spring series, and it hasn't really ruined it for me, just coming in off straight off the bat. And the next book follows Rosie's brother, Wes, and a girl who actually is mentioned in Wild Love, but you don't see her. So I'm really, really excited for that. I love the little snippet at the end, and I was really sold on it. My one point is, because I thought this was a 5-star read, I really did think it was, but there is so much spice. Like I said, this is the first Elsie Silva book that I've read, so I don't know whether this is a pattern in her books. I'm planning on reading the first book in the Chestnut Springs series really soon. So it'll be interesting to see how much spice in that. But it was, in my opinion, someone who is fine with a little bit of spice, but it was just continuous and excessive amounts, pages of it. And also, for me personally, it was almost bordering on a bit crude, but that's just my personal taste. So that has knocked it down to a 4 stars for me. It started off with a 5 stars, then it went down to 4.75, then it went down to 4.5, and by the end it was a 4, unfortunately. But I did still enjoy it, and I'm really excited to read more of her books. I definitely want to get Wild Eyes when it comes out. So the next bit of news I've got is, so on our summer TBR that we did, I've only got one more book on that summer TBR to complete the whole TBR. It was Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher, I believe, is the author. And I plan to read that next. But then I went to my book club, as I think when I was in the car waiting for a little man to come back from nursery, I said that I was taking my library book back and waiting to see what the next book would be. It's Fourth Wing, guys, finally. So if you haven't seen my previous log, I suggested this book to my book group. Now, my book group is made up of people who are several decades older than me, and we generally read literary fiction mixed with kind of subgenres of romance, sometimes historical fiction mixed in there, and then maybe a little bit of crime, but never fantasy. And I've managed to convince them. I don't think they know what they're in for, but I managed to convince them to read Fourth Wing. Now, this is actually my own copy, because I actually went out and bought my own copy because I didn't think that I would be able to read it as part of the book group. Because they started off by going, oh yeah, we'll see if we can get it in. Then the library struggled to get it in, and then it kind of didn't get mentioned again, but finally we're going to be reading this. Now, I was saving it as one of my autumn books because it has kind of fall vibes to me. But with book group reads, because it's quite a chunky one, because I don't know how much time I'm going to have to read now, it's not so predictable. I thought, you know what, I need to get on and start reading it so that I've read it in time for our next book group. So I'm going to read this one next. We're going to read Fourth Wing, finally. And then we'll go on to Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher to complete the summer TBR. And then there's a couple of other books I do want to try and squeeze in before I start kind of autumn, fall vibes. I'm so ready for the autumn. Even though I'm a summer girly, my birthday's on the 21st of August, so it's next week, my birthday. And really, until I've gone past my birthday, I don't start thinking about autumn and fall, because I'm just summer vibes all the way. But this year, I think it's coming earlier and earlier every year. I feel that people getting ready for autumn and fall. And it's my favourite season, like a lot of you guys. Like to get cozy with books. So I'm really excited to make an autumn TBR. And I think will do that after we've read Lauren Asher, once we finish the summer TBR officially. But like I said, there is a couple of books that I want to squeeze in before we start that autumn TBR. But I'll fill you in on that probably when we're back downstairs in front of my bookcase, because I can show you what books I'm thinking of. But for now, this evening, whilst I'm in the bedroom, whilst little man's sleeping and hubby's downstairs, I am going to start Fourth Wing. I really hope it lives up to the hype, because I've hyped it up so much, and I'll be really intrigued to see what my book club thinks of it. Hi guys, so it's now the 30th of August. I apologise in advance for my croaky voice. I've got the lurgy at the moment, so hopefully we can get through this without too many sniffles and coughing. But it's also been my birthday, and you would have seen I was very spoiled. So I have now got the complete series of Elsie Silva's Chestnut Springs, and I also got The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, which I've been dying to read. So thank you very much for my friends and family for giving me those. And I want to check in with you with Fourth Wing. Now, full disclosure, I haven't got that far because I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm finding time to read quite tough. However, I'm very hopeful for this weekend because it's my husband's aunt's wedding. So we're traveling down for the wedding, and so there'll be some time in the car. So I'm hoping I'll get a good chunk done, and I'm loving this book so far. So I am only on page 69, which isn't that far. What chapter is this? I think I've just started the chapter 5. So I'm not that far, but I am absolutely loving it. It is an autumn book, and although we're right at the end of August, we are kind of still in the summer vibes. So I'm wishing that I was reading this cozy in autumn, but apart from that, I'm really loving it. So I'm loving the fact that at the moment it's just from one POV, because the last couple of books I've read, it was dual POVs, which I do enjoy, but it's quite nice going back to just one POV. And then I'm thinking, by the looks of it, it's going to stay that way. So it's just going to be from Violet's point of view. I think she's a great character. So Violet so it's a fantasy book, amazing world building. So it's all fantasy world. And she has grown up believing that she was going to be a scribe. Her dad was a scribe. However, the rest of her family, her mother, her sister and brother, were all dragon riders. Her brother was killed, and then her father passed away. And now her mother, who is the general of this world, has decided that Violet is going to follow in the rest of the family's footsteps and become a dragon rider, even though I think she had some kind of childhood illness, it alludes to, which makes her quite fragile. And she's really not suited to being a dragon rider physically, but mentally she is so sharp because her father spent years with her in the library, obviously training her as a scribe as he was. So mentally she's really sharp, and I guess that's going to be her kind of hidden talent. And so I find that really interesting. So she's thrown into kind of, it's almost like it's given me Hunger Games / Divergent vibes. So they have to go through this training school. It's kind of like military training. And going by the dedication at the start of the book by the author, she appears to be an army wife. So I think she's leaned quite heavily into the military side of things, which I am enjoying. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the world building. I'm very much at the start, so I'm still trying to get my head around all the characters and the world and all the different names. But I'm really, really enjoying it. And the other thing that I enjoyed is the fact that right at the start, when Violet starts, like it's like her first task in order to even get into the military school. You meet a couple of characters, and there's a death straight off the bat, and you don't necessarily see it coming. And I do like that because it means that you don't rest on your laurels. Like none of the characters are safe. Obviously, I think Violet's going to be safe because she's the narrator. But nobody else is safe, and I kind of like that. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it so far. And this is book 1 in a trilogy. Book 2's already out, and book 3 comes out at the end of January, I believe. So if I continue to enjoy this as much as I am at the moment, I think I'm going to ask for book 2 for Christmas, and then I'm hopefully going to use any Christmas money that I get to pre-order book 3, because I'm really, really loving it. So this is going really well, and I'm hoping to read quite a bit of it this coming weekend in the car, and then finish it off in the evenings, hopefully, because I am really, really enjoying it. So like I said before, hubby will get some Netflix time. And then the next one I was going to read, because this obviously wasn't on the summer TBR, this is technically a book club read, but the one that I recommended. We only had one book left on the summer TBR that we did together, and that is Love Redesigned. But I think I am going to have to shelve this one because it's quite a chunky one. And to be completely transparent, now starting to read this one, I just want to jump straight into autumn reads. Sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze. No sneeze. So this one's going to have to go back on the shelf, and it will have to wait for another time. I'm really excited to read it, but I just want to get into, there's 2 other books that I want to read, and then I want to get into my autumn TBR. So Love Redesigned will have to wait. So in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going on holiday. So I want to get this done and dusted by the time we go on holiday, and then I want to take these 2 books with me. I want to try and maybe start one of them before we go, hopefully finish that one whilst we're on holiday, and start the next one and finish the other one soon afterwards, because I'm thinking I'm going to obviously have another book club read, whatever that's going to be, and then we can start the autumn TBR. And the reason I want to try and squeeze these 2 in is because these 2 are ones that I really, really want to read, and they have got holiday vibes. So I want to squeeze these in before we then get full into autumn mode. I'm very much a mood reader, which is why now starting my autumn reads, I just want to get full into it. And quite honestly, once I get past my birthday, which was on the 21st of August, I'm very much in autumn winter vibes. Like in my mind, I'm full on preparing for Christmas and things like that. And especially running a small business as well, running a shop, you're very much looking at the seasons. So the 2 books that I want to take on holiday is The Power Trip by Jackie Collins and 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. And these give very similar vibes. So they're both about a group of individuals going on a trip. I think they're going to have different kind of aspects to them. I think this is more kind of semi-thriller vibes. And obviously Jackie Collins, that's very much glamorous, kind of sexy vibes. But they're both kind of holiday vibes. How many times can I say vibes in this video? But yeah, so these are 2 I want to take on holiday. So I want to get Fourth Wing done within the next week or so that I then can take these ones on holiday with me. And hopefully they're both chunky-ish, but get these done, and then we can do our autumn TBR together. So I have got some ideas for what I want to put on my autumn TBR. It's going to be very mood ready, but we'll do those together maybe once we get back off holiday. Then we can proper lean into the cozy vibes. We can kind of wrap up in some blankets, get some hot chocolate, put some maybe like Harry Potter kind of ambient music on. I'm leaning heavy into autumn romantic vibes. But yeah, let's carry on with Fourth Wing. Really, really enjoying it. And I'm really looking forward to sharing more thoughts on the book as we get further in. Okay guys, so it's now the 12th of September and I have finished Fourth Wing. I had my book club last night where we all discussed it. So I finished this one a couple of days ago now, which I'm glad, so I can kind of settle my thoughts, because I think if I had spoken to you as soon as I finished it, it would have been a mad ramble because I had so many thoughts on it. My biggest frustration was that I didn't have the time to binge it. Honestly, if I didn't have a baby, if I was just at home on my own, I probably would have read the whole thing in a day because I got so lost in it. And so many of my book clubs said the same. You just kept wanting to see what the next thing was in the book. I think the pacing was amazing. So before I go more into it, it is a 5 stars. It is my favourite book of the year so far. I absolutely adore this book. I already want to reread it. I'm sad to be leaving this world. I can't wait to read the next book. So this is the first book, and they think it's going to be a 5-book series. At the moment, there's only the first and second book out. So we've got Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and then Onyx Storm is due to come out the end of January. So in my mind, as much as I want to literally just get Iron Flame right now, I'm going to wait because I have my August TBR that I want to go through. But I'm going to ask for Iron Flame for Christmas, and then in my head I can see me kind of reading it between Christmas and New Year. Excuse me. And then I can use my Christmas money to then pre-order Onyx Storm, so that I can read Iron Flame over Christmas and New Year, and then I won't have long to wait for Onyx Storm. That's in my mind is the plan, because I adore this book, and I know if I read the next one, I'm going to want to go straight on to the next one again. But I could, like I said, I could reread this right now. I enjoyed it so much. So the main character, so it's predominantly, well, it's pretty much all told from Violet's perspective. Right at the end, you do get Xaden's perspective. And then in this paperback copy, we have 2 bonus chapters, which reflects back on some previous events, but from Xaden's point of view, and I ate that up. I absolutely loved having just one point of view. As much as I wanted to know what Xaden was thinking, and as much as I loved hearing Xaden's point of view at the end, it was nice that it was only like a couple of little drip feeds of it. So it kept you guessing. So it is an enemies to lovers, but it's a slow burn enemies to lovers. And you would know, when I read Divine Rivals, I felt that they went from enemies to lovers too quickly, whereas this was a slow burn, enemies to lovers, and potentially back to enemies again. It's left on a cliffhanger, which I absolutely loved the ending. Again, no spoilers here, but the ending was great. There is a sad death towards the end, which got me. So it's set in a war college, and Rebecca Yarros, the author, who is a Christian, by the way, she is a military wife. So this is set in a war college for dragon riders. And she does the hierarchy really well, because of course, as a military wife, she knows about the hierarchy of the military. So that's done really, really well. And also, it was interesting hearing my book group talk about it, because as I said before, I am the youngest in the book group by several decades. So they're all of a totally different generation. And they struggled with some of the language. So there is bad language in here. There is spice, but there is talk of spice quite a bit. But there's only 2 real episodes of spice. And interestingly, I was okay with it, because I really struggled with it in Wild Love. But in this one, the way Rebecca wrote it, it wasn't as crude. So I coped a lot better with it, but they struggled with the language, and I didn't. As much as I don't like cursing, I felt like in that scenario, when you watch like SAS programs on TV, like every other word is a curse word, because I guess that's just the bravado, and you're dealing with death essentially all day, every day, and you have to build up a certain barrier to be able to mentally cope with it. And I think that's what you're seeing here. So I didn't think it was out of place. I don't agree with cursing just for the sake of it. And also, these characters are in their kind of early 20s. So it's, again, I think it's in keeping with the characters. It didn't grate on me at all with the cursing. It was interesting hearing from their point of view. So my book group have never read a fantasy book or a sci-fi book in their book group. I only joined about a year ago, and a fellow member of the book group was so happy that I managed to talk them into reading it, because she's been trying for years to get them to talk them into reading a fantasy. And off the back of that, we're going to go into another fantasy book, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But so yes, it's Violet and Xaden are the main characters, and then you have some other side characters, which I loved every single character. The character I loved the most was a dragon, Ten, which is Violet's dragon, one of her dragons, and he just has the most dry sense of humor and just like deadpan comments, and he's savage, and I love it. His one-liners are really, really amazing. I don't want to go on too much because I don't want to give spoilers, but I would highly, highly recommend this book. Like I said, it is enemies to lovers trope. It is a slow burn, which I really, really enjoyed. There's also forced proximity in it as well. Xaden and Violet start off as enemies. So Xaden blames Violet's mother, for the death of his parents, and Violet's brother, she believes, was killed by his father. So, I mean, really serious enemies. And her sister warns her at the start, stay away from Xaden because he will want to kill you. So they're real enemies. It's not just like, oh, they dislike each other, or they're like in divine rivals. They're just rivals in the workplace. This is like real life and death stuff. And it's a slow burn. And then they bond with dragons that are a mated pair, so they're in that forced proximity, and it's how they then deal with that. I loved it. Like I said, it's my favorite book of the year. Honestly, I lost myself in this book, and like I said, if I could have binged it, I would have. If I'm ever in a situation where I have a period of time where I can read, I really want to reread this, but I want to read it ideally in 1 or 2 sittings. I want to annotate. I just want to dive back into this world. I loved it so, so much. And my book group did kind of like it. They said, interestingly, they read it more like a film script than a book. But I do think that is just a generation perspective, because I think the way books are written now, they're written for an audience who are used to streaming and watching everything in films and TV. And so you kind of have to write like that in order to get kind of your attention. So I think it is just a generation thing, and they did admit that. But I'm really proud of them for giving a fantasy book a go, and nobody hated it. It is a long book as well. It's probably like twice as long as the books that we normally read, although we have read a couple of longer books, but it is a chunky one. Like, it's over 500 pages. But yeah, I'm going to have to stop now, because otherwise it's going to be like an hour long segment of me just talking about Fourth Wing. I could talk about this till the cows come home. Love it. So, love it. Can't wait for the next one. So, the next book club read that we're going to do, we talked about doing another like fantasy or sci-fi book, and we've decided on a Terry Pratchett book. I love Terry Pratchett. I have only read a couple of his books though. I haven't read his entire back catalogue. And actually, interestingly, I'm thinking of putting one of his books, The Colour of Magic, on my autumn TBR. So to read another Terry Pratchett book on top of that is going to be really exciting. And we've decided on reading Guards by Terry Pratchett. I think that's what it's called, Guards. I don't think it's Guards. I will let you know for certain, but I think it's Guards. And we decided on that one because it has dragons in it. So it's a good segue from Fourth Wing. And it'll be really interesting to see how my book club does with that. Because again, they're really not fantasy readers at all. They're more literary fiction, romance, kind of historical fiction. Really not fantasy or sci-fi. So I'm very excited, but it got me really, because it's also set in kind of autumn, winter, and obviously it's dark academia kind of vibes, dragons and stuff like that. So it kind of gets you in the autumn mood. And although it's deceptive, the sun is streaming in this morning, it has got really cold here. All of a sudden it feels proper autumnal vibes. But I go on holiday next Saturday and I want to squeeze the last little bit of summer, even though we are technically in autumn now. So there's 2 more books I want to read before I get into my proper autumn TBR. And I think I've mentioned it already. It's Jackie Collins' The Power Trip and Liane Moriarty, 9 Perfect Strangers. So I'm going to be taking these on holiday. I'm probably going to start this one this week because we're going down to see my in-laws again. So I'm going to take this in the car with me to get a head start on it. And I'm going to take these on holiday with me. And if I do manage to get Guards from Terry Pratchett, I am going to take that with me on holiday as well. I'm hoping to get some reading done, but again, going on holiday with a baby, totally unpredictable. But we will be driving around. We're going down to Cornwall, so it's a good couple of hours drive. So at least I'll get hopefully some time in the car reading. Anyway, so we're going to go on to Jackie Collins' The Power Trip next. I'm going to read you the blurbs of these because they're quite, I think, similar vibes. They may be completely different, but I think similar vibes, and they're kind of holiday getaway vibes, which is why I'm taking it to the coast with me. So we've got with Jackie Collins, The Power Trip. A Russian billionaire and his state-of-the-art yacht, his beautiful and sexy supermodel girlfriend, and 5 dynamic, powerful, and famous couples are invited on the maiden voyage. A senator and his lovely but unhappy wife, a very attractive movie star and his needy ex-waitress girlfriend, a famous black footballer and his interior designer wife, a male Latin singing sensation and his older English boyfriend, and a maverick writer with his Asian journalist female friend. Could this be the trip of a lifetime, or a trip from hell? Whatever happens on the high seas doesn't necessarily stay there. The Power Trip. Take it if you dare. So excited. Jackie Collins, I've only read a couple of her books previously, but I did enjoy them, specifically Confessions of a Wild Child. I do like her writing style. It's very sexy. Generally, there's a lot of spice in it. I think she's known for that. And she's known for kind of, even though she's English, she spent most of the time living in America. So it's very kind of LA celebrity vibes. So I'm excited to see what I think of this one. And then this one, is that the only blurb there is? Or is there another one inside? Because that is not much of a blurb. Maybe this is... I've never read anything by Liane Moriarty before, but she is famous for Big Little Lies. It's been made into a TV show and a couple of other TV shows. I don't think there's any other. It just says 1 luxury retreat in the middle of nowhere, 10 days in which no one can leave, 9 strangers seeking perfection, and each discovering the perfect lie. So do you see what I mean? Similar vibes, kind of, forced proximity, on a trip, lots of different characters. I think this is going to be more thriller vibes, but we shall see. I'm very, very excited to read these on holiday. So let's jump straight into this one. I'm not sure if I'll talk to you about it before we go on holiday or not. It depends how much reading I get before we go. But I will certainly catch up with you probably on my return from holiday, and we'll debrief on these, potentially the book club one as well if they manage to get in before I go, and then we will start constructing our autumn TBR, which I'm so excited about because I have so many ideas about the books I want to go on there. lots of dark academia, magic, and kind of cozy vibes. Very, very excited. This has certainly got me in the mood for autumn mood reading. But yeah, let's squeeze the last little bit out of summer.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10.
Hi guys, so it's now the 4th of October. I am back from holiday. I had an amazing week in Cornwall. It was absolutely lovely. Did not get much reading done though. We stayed in accommodation, so it was me, my husband, my little boy, and my parents as well. So we were busy during the day, and in the evenings, it was just fun to hang out with my parents once my little boy went to bed. So I didn't get much reading done. I didn't get onto the second book at all, so I didn't get onto the Liane Moriarty book, but I did start Jackie Collins, and I got just over a quarter of the way through, not quite halfway. Page 219, just about to start chapter 44, and I really am enjoying this book. So as I said to you before, it's a group of kind of like A-listers, really, celebrities, going on this yacht. So the yacht is owned by this billionaire and Russian billionaire, and he's got this new girlfriend. And his plan is to propose to the girlfriend on this trip, and it's for her birthday. So he's invited all of these people, and they're all interconnected. If you've read a Jackie Collins before, she writes from multiple POVs, and their stories all just intertwine. Like I said, I'm, a good chunk of the way through, and we've only just made it onto the super yacht. So that's how much kind of preparation for this, because they were all sent in individual invites. Of course, you had to give the backstories for each of them. But what I didn't expect, and I showed you a clip, I believe, the very first page is the announcing of a murder. And now then you go back in time, and then of course you're trying to think, I wonder who's been murdered. Was not expecting that at all. It is a bit frustrating. Like I said, we've only just got on the yacht and we're this far the way through, which the pace is a little bit slow, but I do understand why she's done it, because you did have to give the backstories about who these people are, what their characters are, how they're related to each other. So I do understand, and I really want to find out what happens. However, 2 reasons. Number one, it is now Friday and I have book club on Wednesday, and I have not even started my book club read. So I need to put this down and read my book club read. Secondly, we are now fully into autumn. I've got my long sleeves on. It's getting chilly. It's getting dark. And I don't want to be reading about a super yacht. I want to be getting cozy vibes. So with a heart, I almost skipped right to the end just to see what happened. I almost did, but I haven't done. I'm really terrible for doing that. I do that quite a lot, actually. My husband gets so annoyed with me. He's like, why even bother? But I haven't done that because I'm going to soft DNF this. So I am going to shelve it for now, but I do want to come back to it and find out what happens. So this is a soft DNF. And we are going to jump into Terry Pratchett's Guards. Look at this chunky one. I haven't started yet. I've got the bookmark in there ready to start. It is, how many pages is it? It is 416 pages. It is quite chunky, but equally the text is quite large. So I'm hoping it won't take me too long. The time is now, what time is it? It is 20 to 8 in the evening. Little man is in bed and hubby is out for the evening at a works do. He's expected to be out until about 11 tonight. So I have a good few hours to get stuck into this. I want to see how far I get this evening. I really want to get into the autumn vibe. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull out my bullet journal. We're going to do our autumn TBR, not including this one because this one is the one we're reading first, but all the other books I want to read this autumn winter season. I'm going to do a little reading journal. I'm going to put some ASMR autumn vibes on the TV on YouTube, and we're going to sit down and I'm going to indulge myself in some autumn reading. I'm hoping the vibes will spur me on to get as much of this read as possible, because like I said, I need to read this before next Wednesday, and it's Friday. If I don't get loads done this evening, I hopefully will over the weekend, but I want to see how much I get done tonight. So I will share with you how far we get this evening. And like I said, I'm just going to chill and cozy up and make the most of having the house to myself, whilst little man's asleep upstairs, and enjoy it. As you can probably hear, I've got a cold as well, so it really is kind of cold winter vibes. You can tell the kids have gone back to school. I work in a school and I have a little boy who goes to nursery, so it's literally bound to happen. This is going to be standard for the rest of autumn. Anyway, enough of me moaning. Let's do our autumn TBR, because I'm so excited. I'm so excited to do my autumn TBR. And let's start reading Terry Pratchett's Guards, Guards. Okay guys, so it is the 10th of October now. I had book club last night, and for the first time ever, I haven't been able to finish my book club read in time for book club. This is how close I got. Just over 100 pages left to read of Guards, Guards by Terry Pratchett. So I didn't quite get it done in time. I don't feel too bad though, because there were 3 other people who didn't finish the book, because it is actually a chunky one. And this book is a bit odd because there's no chapters. So it's just continuous. So I can't even tell you what chapter I'm on, because it's continuous. But I'm on page 311. I think there's 415 pages. So I'm almost there. I almost did it. But I am loving this book. I think I've only read one other Terry Pratchett book. We do have another Terry Pratchett book, the very first one in the Discworld series, Colour of Magic, on our autumn TBR. So I haven't read too much of Terry Pratchett. I knew that he is quite a humorous book. There's a lot of dry sense of humour, and that's definitely what is in here. It is funny, but you have to, once you get used to his style of writing, it's an easy read. But until you get used to it, you have to really pay attention. Like I said, there's no chapters, so it just flows on and on and on. But there are different breaks in the scene. I don't know if I can try and... sometimes it is just a paragraph break. There's like a bigger gap to tell you that you're moving scene, or you're moving to a different set of characters. But apart from that, you just carry on. So actually, once you get into it, you do fly through it because you're not waiting for end of a chapter. Before you know it, you've kind of gone through quite a few pages. The descriptions are really cool. One comment from another member of our book group was that she felt that he stole ideas from other books, specifically like J.R. Tolkien. But I think he does that on purpose. He uses inspiration from the real world and also other parts of literature and kind of TV and film, and turns it on his head and tells it a bit skewed. I mean, the most obvious example of him using something in the real world and using it in his like kind of alternative dimension is obviously there is a book called The Hogfather. I've watched the film, I haven't read the book. And that Hogfather is his version of Father Christmas. The opening scene here is very similar to a scene in one of the Lord of the Rings stories. There's a scene where a member of the guard is talking to some of the officers outside the palace, and he's like, the question is, are you feeling lucky? Which obviously is a famous quote from a film, and he's used it in the book. So he does it on purpose almost. It's not plagiarism. He's using popular phrases and dropping it in, but like I said, turning it on its head. I don't think I'm explaining it very well, but if you read Terry Pratchett, you'll understand. You have to kind of just go with it. Take everything with kind of a pinch of salt. It is just there for humour, and it's a dry sense of humour. But I did enjoy it. Like I said, once you get into it, once you understand his writing, and he writes quite heavily with accents, and so like Vimes, one of the guards, he is an alcoholic, and so when he's writing his speech, his slurred speech, when he's drunk, it really is slurred, so it's quite difficult to read, but obviously that's how he's actually speaking. So instead of saying he was drunk, he's actually just showing that through his speech, if you know what I mean. So it's a very clever writing. I think it takes a lot of effort to make something look easy. So actually I think for something that looks quite a simple book and a simple read, actually was complex to write. So shows a lot of skill. So all in all, me and the rest of my book club did enjoy this book. Some of my book club did prefer it to Fourth Wing. Not I. Fourth Wing is still my favourite book of the year, but I am enjoying it, and I like the dragons in it. Dragons is cool. So I just need to finish this one off. We haven't decided what our next book club read is going to be yet. So you will probably find out probably in the next vlog now, because I don't think I'll get it in before the end of this vlog. But I want to finish off this book so that I can return it to the library. And then I want to finally make a start on my autumn TBR. I'm thinking I might start with the pumpkin spice cafe to kind of get in the autumn mood. So yeah, let's finish this one. Let's get all cozy and autumny, and let's indulge the full vibes to the max and get on to our autumn TBR. Okay guys, so I finished Guards and I have started the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Before I get onto that one, I finished Guards by Terry Pratchett, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the read. I liked the ending. It did feel a little bit of a slog by the end, but I think it's because just I wanted it to end. Time was going on, and it felt a bit like I really enjoyed the start, and I was making good pace. But now I was just like, right, okay, we could have probably wrapped up the story a couple of chapters ago. But having said that, I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 3 stars because although I enjoyed it, I wouldn't want to read it again. And it's not a story that's particularly going to stay with me, but I would recommend it. It's like I said, it's really good humour from Terry Pratchett. I have got another Terry Pratchett book on my autumn TBR. So definitely want to read more of Terry Pratchett and see if I can get into the Discworld series, because again, I like the humour, but it's not on the top of my TBR, if you get what I mean. But glad I read it. And then you would have seen, as I took it back to the library, we picked up the next book club read, which is Conclave by Robert Harris. I have not read anything by this author before, although the library ticket's in it. I haven't started it. It is a thriller. I haven't read any thrillers, I don't think so. I think it'll be my very first thriller. I am very excited to read this because, again, it's something totally different. And this is a good thing about being part of a book club. They recommend books that you wouldn't ordinarily read. So I'm really excited to read that one. So that will be the one that I read next after finishing the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So that will probably be the first book of the next reading vlog, because this one's going to be the last one of this reading vlog, because I've already waffled on long enough in this video. But this will be the first one of the next vlog, which I'm very excited about. Now back to the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. You can see I've only just started. I am on chapter 7. I mean, just look at the cover. How beautiful is that cover? You can see the gilding there, the foiling is beautiful on the front. So this is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. It is book 1 in the Dream Harbour series. I think they're all standalones. I believe only 2 books have come out in the series so far. This one, and it's like the Cinnamon Bun Shop or something like that. Anyway, it's kind of based on like Gilmore Girls and that vibe. I've never watched Gilmore Girls. I am sorry, I haven't watched that. So I'm coming in completely fresh with this. It is a small town romance. You meet the love interest in the first chapter. She's all sunshine and rainbows and he's Mr. Grumpy. So it's a good vibe. There is attraction straight away. It's a dual POV, which I really enjoy. However, that then does mean there's no mystery to it. And in both of their POVs, they're very open about the fact that although there's multiple reasons why on both sides they shouldn't get involved with each other, from their perspectives, they both have an instant connection to each other, an instant attraction, and they both realize it themselves. So it's not like a slow burn where the feelings sneak up on one or both of the characters. They both straight away know they are attracted to this other person, but they're trying to fight that. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I am a slow burn romance girly, and I don't think this is going to be that slow, which makes me sad. But the vibes are there. The autumn vibes, will just from the cover alone, are there. So I'm enjoying it for that reason. And yeah, it's just like a pretty chilled read. Not much drama happening at the moment. Lots of interesting characters in the small town vibe, which I'm enjoying. But yeah, not really much to report. It's pretty just standard small town romance. Not much excitement happening, but it's a good time. It's a good time read. It's a bit of a palate cleanser, I guess, before I go straight into my next reads. Obviously a thriller next, and then I've got a load of fantasy books on my TBR. So I guess it's a nice palate cleanser to start off the autumn TBR officially. So yes, I will probably check back in with you once I finish this one.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun.
So I have finished the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and you know what? It turned out to be a good read. I really, really enjoyed it, even though it was super predictable. So it's the story of Jeannie and Logan. Jeannie takes over her Aunt Dot's cafe, and it's a small town romance. A bit of a slow burn, although there's an instant attraction. You know where it's heading. Even there was like a little subplot. There was some strange happenings going on in the cafe that Jeannie and Logan were trying to work out what was happening. And even then, you could kind of work out what was happening with it. But I like that. It was an easy read. I keep getting distracted by the little gilding on this book. It's so beautiful. Very mood ready, perfect for the autumn time. An easy read. I enjoyed it. I am satisfied with the ending. I would, however, you could tell at the end they were setting up future books, because this is, I think it's called Dream Harbour. So this is book one in the Dream Harbour series. And I think the next one is like Cinnamon Bun Bookshop. And then I think the Christmas Tree Farm's just come out. And it's all the same small town romance. And you were setting up the next couple of romances, I think, at the end. I'm not going to go out and buy the rest of the series, because it's one of those things there. It's going to be like copy and paste. It's going to be the same story. But I had a good time. So if you want a nice, full, good time read, easy read, zero dramas, zero, even the little will they, won't they? You know they will. It's one of those stories. So if you want a little bit of a good time, read the book. There is some spice in it. Not too much. It was easy to skip through. I kind of skipped through that. So not too much spice. I gave it 3.5 in the end, because I did really enjoy the characters. I liked Jeannie and Logan. Really like the small town romance vibe. It's quite good to read a small town romance that isn't a cowboy romance, so a bit different. But yeah, I would highly recommend. So the next book I will be reading is my book club read. Before I go on to the rest of my autumn TBR, it's my book club read, which is Robert Harris's Conclave. But you will have to tune into my next book vlog to watch me read this one. This is the one we'll be kicking off with. As always, as soon as I hit stop on this recording, I'll be starting the next book vlog. And the next one will take me through the rest of my autumn TBR, which I have got here. These are all the other books on my autumn TBR. It's going to be autumn winter. Let's be realistic. We're in November now. I've been rubbish with timestamps this time round. I'm always a bit rubbish with timestamps in terms of reading. But it is now November the 10th. So it's November the 10th. So it's going to be autumn winter really for these books, isn't it? I want to get these done before Christmas time, because there's some books that I want to read during Advent Christmas. So I want to get these done as fast as possible. But first we'll be doing the book club read. So if you want to look out for that one, please hit the notification bell. That book vlog will probably be coming out January time, because I'll start filming it November, December, and it'll probably come out January. So if you want to watch that one, please hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Also be interested to see the books that we get over Christmas time. I've asked for a couple of books, and there's a couple of books that I want to buy, so there'll maybe be a book haul in there as well. So a good one to stay tuned for. But if you enjoyed this one, please like, comment, subscribe, all the usual fun stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. God bless. Love you. Bye.